Hello, and welcome to this channel. If you are a senior or someone caring for an elderly loved one, this video is made especially for you. Today, we will gently talk about 7 signs that often appear around 30 days before an elderly person passes away. These signs might seem surprising at first, but they are actually very common, and most importantly, they are backed by real science and observations from experienced caregivers. Knowing these signs can help us better understand the natural process of the body and help us prepare emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you find it helpful. Let's start this important journey together. 1. A gentle loss of appetite. One of the first signs that often appears is a significant loss of appetite. You might start noticing that your usual favorite foods don't seem as appealing as before. Perhaps you're eating much less than usual, or even feeling like you don't want to eat at all for a period of time. This can be quite worrying, especially for those who are used to eating regularly. You might think, why don't I feel hungry? Isn't eating important to stay healthy? However, what you need to understand is that a loss of appetite is actually part of the natural process of the body slowing down as we age. As we get older, the digestive system doesn't function as efficiently as it once did. The body begins to focus energy only on the most essential functions. This means your body is conserving energy for things that matter more, like keeping vital organs working. It's not that you don't need food or water anymore. It's that your body is adjusting to a slower pace. This loss of appetite often happens in the last 30 days of life. It is the body's way of signaling that the digestive system is resting, and the focus is on the most vital functions. You might notice you're not as hungry as you used to be, or you feel full faster than before. Even though you might not feel like eating much, it's still crucial to stay hydrated. Drinking enough fluids is just as important, even when your appetite is low. You can try sipping on water or offering small portions of nutritious food. These can provide energy without overwhelming your system. Have you ever noticed a change in your appetite or felt like you don't want to eat as much as before? How did you handle it? Feel free to share your experiences or tips in the comments. 2. Sleeping more than usual. Another common sign that often appears as people approach the end of their life is sleeping more than usual. You may find yourself feeling more tired or easily falling asleep, even after a full night's rest. You might also notice that you're sleeping for longer periods throughout the day and night. At first, this might seem like a normal part of aging, but it can actually be a sign of the body naturally slowing down as it nears the end of life. Sleeping more is not just because of feeling tired, but it's also a way for the body to conserve energy and allow itself to rest in preparation for the final phase of life. As the body ages and approaches the end of life, it begins to focus on conserving energy for only the most essential functions. Non-essential activities, like movement and communication, decrease, and the body prioritizes vital organs. Sleeping more allows the body to rest deeper, which is important for maintaining the most critical functions for survival. This increase in sleep can happen in the 30 days before death, which is often referred to as the pre-agony phase. During this time, the body starts shutting down and slowing down its normal functions. The metabolism slows, and it becomes harder to stay awake for long periods of time. The body simply does not need as much energy to perform its basic tasks, and sleep becomes a way for it to rest and prepare for what is to come. This excessive sleep is not something to fear. It's actually a sign that the body is preparing for the end, and it is part of the natural process of dying. Many elderly individuals or those facing terminal conditions experience this, and it is one of the ways the body signals that it is beginning to rest deeply in preparation for the transition ahead. Have you noticed that you are feeling more tired or sleeping longer than usual? 3. Decreased social interaction or withdrawal. Another sign that may appear is a decreased interest in social interaction or withdrawal. You may feel less interested in talking to family or friends, or you might prefer to spend time alone. Perhaps you feel like staying in your room or being more isolated than before. At first, this might seem like you just need some alone time. However, as the body approaches the end of life, a decline in social interaction can be one of the signs that the body is preparing to rest more deeply. This withdrawal isn't because you don't care about others, but rather a form of the natural process of the body preparing for the transition to the end of life. Withdrawing from social engagement or choosing to be alone is a common occurrence during this phase, especially as your body begins to feel more tired and needs more energy for its remaining vital functions. Your body and mind may start to feel more fatigued, even by the social activities that once brought joy. This is part of the body's natural response to reduce anything non-essential, allowing more space for rest and recuperation. It's important to understand that this withdrawal isn't a sign of depression or despair. It's simply the way your body is managing itself, focusing more on internal needs and preparing for the end of life. Many people nearing the end experience this type of withdrawal as they feel the need to rest more and reduce external stimulation. According to medical experts, when someone is nearing the end of life, reduced social interaction often becomes a sign that the body is entering a more peaceful phase, preparing for the final transition. At this time, it is still very important to provide emotional support and care, even though you may prefer more solitude. Have you found yourself wanting to be alone more often lately, or feeling less interested in interacting with others? How have you been coping with it? 4. Increased confusion or delirium. One of the more concerning but often observed signs in the final stages of life is an increase in confusion or delirium. This may present as a person becoming disoriented, having difficulty recognizing familiar faces or places, or struggling to keep track of time. They may also become easily agitated or upset, sometimes for reasons that seem unclear. For many elderly individuals nearing the end of life, this confusion isn't just a result of aging or forgetfulness. It can be a sign that the body is beginning to shut down its vital systems, including the brain's ability to process information normally. As the body's metabolic functions slow down, the brain's capacity to remain alert and focused diminishes as well. This delirium can take several forms. It may start as mild confusion, where the individual might mix up the names of family members or believe they are somewhere other than their actual location. As the condition progresses, it may become more pronounced, with the person exhibiting disorganized thinking, inability to focus, and sometimes even hallucinations. Why does this happen? The primary cause of increased confusion or delirium is the body's reduced ability to supply oxygen to the brain and other vital organs. The decreased circulation and metabolism that occur as death approaches lead to impaired cognitive function. The body, in an effort to preserve energy for essential organs, prioritizes the heart, lungs, and kidneys, and the brain receives less oxygen and nutrients. Additionally, medications that are often used in palliative or end-of-life care can also contribute to confusion or disorientation. Pain-relieving medications like opioids, as well as sedatives, may cause side effects that affect mental clarity, particularly when used in higher doses to manage pain in the final stages of life. Is this a sign of death? Yes, confusion and delirium are frequently seen in the final days or weeks of life. It is not necessarily a sign that death is imminent in just a few hours, but rather a gradual decline in brain function as part of the body's preparation for the end. This can be distressing for both the person experiencing it and their loved ones, as the person may seem out of touch or not recognize those around them. It's important to remember that confusion and delirium are natural occurrences in the dying process, and they are not signs of mental illness. It's the body's way of transitioning from life to death. Medical professionals who work in palliative care are trained to help manage these symptoms, ensuring comfort and ease for the person experiencing them. 5. Changes in breathing patterns. One of the most notable and unmistakable signs that death is approaching is a change in breathing patterns. These changes may include periods of rapid breathing followed by periods of slow, or even no breathing at all. This irregular breathing is often described as Cheyne-Stokes respiration, which involves a pattern of breathing that starts out fast, slows down, then stops completely for several seconds before starting again. As the body prepares for the end, breathing becomes less controlled and less regular. This happens because the body's organs and systems are gradually shutting down, including the respiratory system. The muscles responsible for breathing become weaker, and the body struggles to maintain a steady rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. Why does this happen? The changes in breathing patterns are largely due to the body's decreasing ability to circulate oxygen and the gradual failure of the lungs. As death approaches, the circulatory system slows down, and blood flow to the lungs and heart is reduced. This means that the body is not receiving the oxygen it needs to maintain regular breathing, causing the body to take slower, irregular breaths, or even to stop breathing intermittently. Additionally, as the heart weakens and circulation slows, the lungs may not be able to fully expel carbon dioxide, leading to irregular breathing patterns. The respiratory rate may increase as the body tries to compensate, but eventually, the body will move toward taking less and less oxygen, further slowing down the breathing process. What can you expect? You might notice that the person is gasping for air, or that their breaths become very shallow and irregular. Sometimes, there may be long pauses between breaths, and these pauses can last several seconds or even a minute. As uncomfortable as it may seem, these changes in breathing are completely natural and occur as part of the body's transition process. In the final stages of life, breathing may even become labored, and you may hear a gurgling sound when the person exhales. This is often caused by fluid accumulation in the lungs or throat, which is common in the dying process. While this might seem distressing, the individual is often unaware of it, and it does not cause them pain. Healthcare providers can offer guidance on managing the symptom, ensuring comfort and reducing anxiety. Is this a sign of death? Yes, irregular or labored breathing is a clear sign that the body is moving closer to death. This change typically occurs in the last days or hours of life, signaling that the body's respiratory and circulatory systems are no longer functioning optimally. However, this is not something to fear. It is a normal part of the body's natural process of shutting down. In fact, it is often a sign that the body is ready to transition into the final phase of life. 6. Loss of appetite and difficulty eating. As death approaches, many people experience a loss of appetite or a marked decrease in their desire to eat. You may notice that the person no longer has any interest in food, even their favorite meals, or they may refuse to eat entirely. In some cases, they may even forget to eat or be unable to swallow food, despite being offered it. This loss of appetite is part of the body's natural process as it prepares for the end of life. The body no longer requires the same amount of nutrition and energy because many of its systems are slowing down or shutting down entirely. The digestive system, in particular, may begin to slow down, leading to decreased hunger and difficulty processing food. Why does this happen? The primary reason for loss of appetite is that the body is no longer focusing on digestion as its primary task. As the body's energy demands decrease and the organs slow down, there is simply no need for the same level of food intake. The body begins to conserve energy for the essential functions necessary for survival, like breathing and circulation, and food becomes less important in the final stages of life. Additionally, the body's metabolism slows down significantly, and the stomach may produce fewer digestive enzymes. This can make eating uncomfortable or even unpleasant. The individual might not feel hungry or may feel full after just a few bites, contributing to the reluctance or inability to eat. In some cases, nausea or difficulty swallowing can also occur, further discouraging food intake. As the body prepares for the end, it is common for individuals to naturally stop eating or drinking because they no longer feel the need to sustain themselves in the same way they did before. Is this a sign of death? Yes, loss of appetite is often a clear sign that death is approaching, typically within the final weeks or days of life. It signals that the body is no longer prioritizing food or digestion, and this is a natural part of the dying process. While this can be distressing for loved ones, especially if they want to keep the person nourished, it is important to recognize that the body simply does not require the same amount of nutrition in the final stages. This loss of appetite is also accompanied by a decrease in thirst. Many people nearing the end of life will drink less and eventually stop drinking altogether. This is a natural process, and while it may seem troubling, the person is usually at peace, and their body no longer requires hydration the way it once did. How should this be managed? If you are caring for someone who is losing their appetite, it is important to focus on comfort rather than nutrition. You do not need to force food or fluids, but you can offer small, easily digestible snacks or drinks if the person desires. The focus should be on ensuring they are as comfortable as possible and helping them to rest. In some cases, healthcare providers may recommend medications to ease discomfort or nausea if the person is struggling with these symptoms. 7. Physical weakness and decreased mobility. As the body approaches death, one of the most noticeable signs is physical weakness and a marked decrease in mobility. You may find that getting out of bed or even sitting up becomes increasingly difficult. The person may also experience a significant reduction in their ability to move around, and their muscles may feel weak or unresponsive. This weakness is largely due to the body's gradual shutting down of non-essential systems. As the body prepares for the end of life, muscle mass naturally declines, and the body's energy reserves are used primarily for maintaining the most vital functions, like heart and lung activity. As a result, physical activity becomes more difficult and eventually impossible. Why does this happen? The physical weakness and decreased mobility are part of the body's natural process of conserving energy. As the end of life approaches, muscles and joints lose their strength, and many elderly individuals find themselves becoming more and more dependent on others for care. This can be frustrating or distressing, but it's a normal part of the dying process. In the final stages, the body will begin to shut down systems that are not essential to survival. This includes the musculoskeletal system, which causes muscle atrophy and reduced physical movement. It's the body's way of focusing its remaining energy on the most critical functions. Is this a sign of death? Yes, physical weakness and reduced mobility are often clear signs that death is nearing. While it can happen over a longer period, this decrease in movement and strength often intensifies in the final days or weeks before death. It's important to remember that this is a normal sign and that the person is likely experiencing a peaceful transition. Their body is no longer needing to engage in regular movement, and this decline is part of the natural process. So, as we wrap up, it's important to understand that these signs, sleeping more, confusion, withdrawal, breathing changes, loss of appetite, and physical weakness, are all natural and common signs that can appear in the final days or weeks of life. However, each journey toward the end is unique, and it's important to approach these changes with empathy and understanding. Remember, death is a part of life, and we can't always predict when or how it will happen. Even though science and experience help us identify these signs, the moment of passing is ultimately determined by fate. We may not know exactly when our time will come, but we can certainly prepare ourselves and our loved ones for this natural transition. I hope this video has provided some insight and comfort, and I encourage you to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. If you found this helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Remember, we are not alone in this journey. We are all in this together. Thank you for watching, and take care. In this conclusion, I've emphasized the unpredictability of death, while reminding the audience that while the signs of nearing death are scientifically understood, the moment of passing is something only fate can determine. It's a respectful and empathetic way to remind the audience that death is natural, and we cannot control when it will happen.